For me, somatics facilitates authenticity primarily because for many of us in the world that we live in, we have believed, perceived, received information from the outside world that there is a right way to do things, a right path to follow, a right job to have, a right house to live in, right? We've kind of been shown this cookie cutter approach. And at least for me, I kind of started following this path and like ticking the boxes and was ultimately feeling deep unfulfillment. And again, this was like a big door that opened me into this journey of work that I now do. For me, somatics now is coming into that conversation, communication, connection with our own body. And what that does is two things. I think it both brings up where there's misalignment, where something's not quite right, where there's some discord or disconnection or discombobulation in the body. And that's just really illuminating. And to start with, we don't really need to do too much with that. It's just like, oh, that's there. And actually, there's a real power in not needing to fix that, not needing to correct that, because otherwise we're still in that essence of like, I need to perfect this thing that's wrong with me. So it highlights where things maybe aren't working or aren't in alignment. And at the same time, it brings us into a state of presence like, that's okay. It's okay that everything's not perfect. It's okay that some things are messy. Life is chaotic. Somatics is a way of expanding into our ability to be with the movements of life, right? But I think then that becomes a really important cue and communication from the body, which is then that we can start to find spaces and places within us that maybe is more empowerment, maybe is finding our voice, maybe is movement or writing, or like then that information we can kind of start to move into it more so that we are expressing ourselves. And again, I think that starts off first and foremost with me, for me, by me, through me. Just me and my mat. It's nothing to do with the outside world, but I think slowly then that communication opens doors to like, okay, at least for me, why am I not doing this in all areas of my life? Why am I not able to honor my needs in that area, but I am able to honor it here? We can really use movement as metaphor. So, for instance, on your mat, if you struggle to take up space, there could be a metaphor and a mirror and an illumination into the world outside that you can't take up space. If you're on your mat and you're struggling to make any noise, maybe there's a metaphor and a mirror into life where, you're struggling to speak your needs or something like that. So, for me, somatics on the mat in a practice is metaphor, is an illumination, is a mirror into the outside world. So it brings up things from the depth, from the darkness, from the unconscious, brings it into the light. And at first it's just like, oh, look at this little present from my body. I'm going to sit with it. I'm going to nurture it. And then slowly but surely we might use it to make changes or realignments in our life or whatever you feel you want to do. But that's a very personal process and depends what that person's looking for. But yeah, I think one of the greatest gifts is authentic, unapologetic self-expression, because actually it's the variety in life that brings so much joy. And yeah, trying to break out of those molds is really hard, but a beautiful journey all the same.